into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome, everybody, to another AfterBuzz TV after show for your favorite show, our favorite show, Public Morals. This is Season 1, Episode 3, O'Bannon's Wake. I am your host for the evening, Anna Koppel. You can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR. Joining me once again, Phil Svitek.
Welcome, returning for a second episode.
And joining us for the first time, as promised, for weeks now, Christina Kaplan is here.
Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be here. I absolutely love this show.
I'm so happy you're here. I've missed you so much.
I missed you, too.
Not here tonight is Roxy Stryer, but she is with us in spirit. She has some thoughts.
She's reporting live from New York.
She is.
She's trying to figure out the whole what's going on in the street level.
She's revenging because she's mad at me. I missed the first 2 episodes, so...
No, this is how we roll. We just can't ever have we'll have a full panel twice this season in the end. So, before we get into it, just a reminder, please give us a shout on iTunes and on YouTube. We love it. Give us 5 stars or 4 stars or, just remind, because we really need validation, and it keeps the lights on.
New. The show's new, so you know what I mean? Like, it's brand new. It helps people find us, people find the show, so it's beneficial for everybody.
It's a win-win-win all the way around. How right you are, Phil. So, so much to talk about tonight. We learned a lot more about O'Bannon, well, we did learn a lot more about O'Bannon, but we learned more about Patton and his crew. I think that we got into deeper and deeper levels of that. So O'Bannon's best friend, I guess?
He claims to be his best friend, but we are just being introduced to him, so I don't know how I feel about that.
It's Richie, right? Is his name? Yeah.
Well, it seems like O'Bannon has a lot of best friends, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And that's what, like with Patton, I think, obviously he did a whole show and tell because he's ultimately trying to pry who has information and who's willing to talk and who's not. He's testing the waters.
Right. But Richie, right?
His actual best friend
comes into a bar. He's like, I'm going to cut off heads and then we're going to celebrate. And that's how it's going to go down. I mean...
But can you be his best friend if you're not his right-hand man?
How is he not his right-hand man?
Because Smitty
is. Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes people feel like it's good to not mix business and personal relationships.
Yeah, but the whole thing is he's trying to take over as the plan is, they're trying to take over the West Side, which is Patton's territory, and Smitty's not about that plan, whereas him and O'Bannon were. So that's definitely business.
But that's, okay, I think we're confusing people. So I think Richie is the one who is saying...
Take over the West Side.
Yes.
No, Kane is saying take over the West Side.
All right.
100%, okay.
I'm pretty sure, isn't Richie's last name Kane?
Richie Kane, maybe.
I think
I think that's what it is.
Because it's the 2 guys together that just had the whole really horrible fight scene. I'm sorry, guys. You could have done a little bit better with that. I thought it was the worst fight scene ever. But those 2 guys, Richie and whoever that other dude that comes around with him, they're the ones that are talking about taking over the West Side.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay. See, this is what we really need the cast list in front of us all the time. And
no, it's Richard. It is Richard Kane, though.
Okay.
That's his name.
Okay. All right. Great.
Cleared that one up.
This one I know.
I wish they would start just referring to them as one name so that I could keep up with it.
Yeah, they have because they have their first name, their last name, and their nickname.
Right.
And sometimes they're like, whatever you call it, they're not like a bullshit nickname, but like your pejorative name. Right.
Yeah, it's very confusing. So and this is why we encourage you to tweet at us throughout the show as well, because we do get things
Which,
wrong.
by the way, not to harp on it, but it's funny because Tina Cap, when she started, she has a different name for Stacey Porter because on the cast list, Stacey Potter is not listed as Stacy Potter. She's listed as Fortune.
Fortune, yeah.
Right.
So it's
okay.
Like,
So it's confusing.
Yeah,
It's confusing, y'all.
there's so many cast members that are integral to the plot. So it's kind of hard to keep track. We're only on episode 3, so give us a little break.
Yeah, give us a break.
Which, by the way, your comment can be as an encouragement. Let's figure out a common name for each of these people
Yeah, maybe.
that we can all, as hosts and as fans, communicate.
Yeah, maybe that can be one of your comments. We would appreciate that.
Richie. I like Richie better than Kane.
Okay. Well, later in my notes, I'll have to start saying Richie. Just throwing it out there now. Okay, so there is trouble still between Papa Joe and Rusty. Rusty wants to take over Mr. O's books, and Papa Joe is like, you are not prepared for that. You're making a disaster. You're in a mockery of our business, and he wants to give it to Smitty, right? Mm-hmm. So, any thoughts on this about...
Well, my first question was, because it's very early on in the episode, how much does Joe Patton know of what happened last episode in terms of the prostitute and the guy from the bar, right? And so does he have that knowledge? Because if he does, then yeah, no way would I even give it to him. Now, if he doesn't, then it's it's still obviously I understand why Patton's not so willing to let Rusty in on this.
I feel like he, at the very least, knows his son and knows what he's capable of.
Right, and that's probably why he's saying no, because first of all, Rusty just got out of prison. I don't think they told us exactly what he did to get there, but I would assume it's something to do with the illegal gambling ring.
I think we'll find out later about that. I think that's going to be a big part.
But Papa Joe even said that Mr. O, Mr. O was their top earner. So I don't think that he believes that Rusty can fill those shoes and really. And also, if you watch the way that Mr. O kind of, yes, he beats his wife, but aside from that, he's kind of like a personable guy, like chops it up with the guys. Rusty's kind of a standoffish, a little bit cold, and not so easily approachable. So I don't know how well he really could fit into that role as kind of the ringleader of that territory.
Well, Smitty also keeps a certain status quo. It's just everyone kind of moves up the ladder, whereas this is like, okay, we're just, we're shaking things up, and I feel like that's the last thing Patton needs to be doing or wants to be doing.
Right. He definitely lacks a certain charisma, personability, and is that a word?
It is now.
And he doesn't get on with the folks. So there's a bar scene where they're all sort of theorizing about who could have killed Mr. O, and they completely write off Patton because they're like, well, he was making too much money for them. There's no way it could have been, right? And then somebody, I can't remember who, but somebody accuses Richie Kane of that he was the one who put the idea in O's head to take over the business. So first of all, do you remember who that person was that accused him?
That part I don't remember.
Wasn't it Smitty when they were talking?
It was a group of them talking.
Well, so, what you're thinking of when Smitty goes back at Richie and says, "Hey, it was like we're not having this grand idea of taking over the West Side, so get it out of your head now."
Yeah.
But I don't think that's who it was. I mean, maybe it'll play later into who the person was, but as of now, obviously, I don't think it was that important.
Okay. Fair enough. So Papa Joe calls in Smitty, right, to have this conversation about how would you feel taking over? How would you feel profiting from O'Bannon's death? And I don't know about you, but I was not comfortable with anything in this scene. I was just like, there's something...
Well, it wasn't meant to be comfortable.
Well, I understand that, but what do you think was going on?
From Patton's perspective?
From anybody's perspective. What was happening?
From Patton's perspective, he's figuring out, okay, are you a stoolie? And as soon as Smitty says, "You have my 100% loyalty," and in terms of, I thought that was great. And then he chose his words very carefully. He was like, so you're telling me anybody could have done it? He's like, yep, anybody could have done it. Some are saying the kid. And then the way he reworded that, if I'm not profiting off his death, he didn't really quite give an answer. I thought he'd give a more generic, like, I'm just honoring his legacy type of BS. I'm glad it didn't go that way.
Right.
Ultimately, I don't think he didn't really give an answer, which was a good answer to not give an answer.
But he ultimately does hire Smitty, and now do we think that this is because Patton trusts him, or is he just sort of testing him out?
No, I think he trusts him. I mean, I don't think Smitty's dumb.
Yeah, but I feel like Smitty is kind of shady. There's something about him that I think... I don't know. This is kind of like a bold prediction, but I almost kind of want to say that he will eventually turn and decide, yeah, let's take over the West Side with this kind of new, like, now he has all this newfound power, and he's going to kind of get ahead of himself and try to really...
So is Richie like an alibi for him? Like, hey, I know this was never my idea. I tried to stop it 100 times. It's this kid Richie, and...
Maybe right now Richie and Smitty are at odds because Smitty's trying to appease Papa Joe and the whole, that's his boss and whatever, and hasn't been the leader or the head of any area at all. So now that he's getting this chance to kind of take on this more responsibility and whatnot, I just feel like there's a chance that he will flip sides and decide, and the greed will take over,
He seemed entirely too nervous to me in that scene. And I understand why, even if he had the best of intentions, why, hey, Joe Patton wants a meeting with you, could make anybody nervous. But here's why I don't think it's authentic, is Joe Patton made a point of saying repeatedly, keep your friends close. Keep your friends close, right? We all know the rest of that sentence is, and your enemy's closer. I don't think he trusts Smitty for a second. So do you think that maybe this is a setup? Absolutely. A setup for what? And I'm not sure. But
something's going down.
Something's going down.
Yeah, but also, Patton, as he says, he's a businessman. So the way that scene, as intimidating as it was business. Whereas Rusty would have gotten out his little pocket knife, and would have been like, "Hey, you either do this or you don't, or whatever." Right. This, was a little bit more civil, believe it or not.
Yeah, it definitely was more civil. And then, and later, when Richie says that he wants to start the war with Patton, Smitty does seemingly have loyalty at this point. Yeah. So we do know that, and that scene got more violent.
It did, and it could have been a farce, which I think could speak to Tina's point, but I don't think so. I think Smitty's at the end of the day, he's just a guy that just wants to keep the status quo.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, because you hear when he's talking to Terry's son at the wake, and he says, I started, and Mr. O, I ran errands for him, and then I started doing deliveries, and so he started off as just some kid off the street, and has kind of worked his way up, and now really worked his way up to the top. So I do agree with you. Half of me wants to believe my original thought, but the other half I think that you're right, both of you, in that he has worked his way to the top, and now he wants to really just hold tight to that allegiance to Patton and
well, speaking of that scene too, because he's talking to James, the kid of Terry, and as soon as he finds out that that's actually the case, that's whose son this is, he gets really nervous. So I don't think he wants to cross anybody. As he says, he knows his place, and I feel that he ultimately does. And if he can get to a higher place within the parameters, which is basically what Patton's offering him, of like, hey, you can do this, you have my permission, but just don't, this is the boundary, and he'll do that, and he'll do a good job of it.
You're telling me, Phil, that in this city of corruption, they didn't already know who James was before they started talking to him?
Apparently not.
I completely disagree.
I don't know. He's such a young kid, so maybe they just, I don't know. Maybe they didn't think about it. Maybe now, I feel like now that they know, I don't know. I think James is going to get into some more crap. I don't think he's on the straight and narrow. So maybe down the line, we might have another paths crossed with James and Schmitty. I guess we'll see.
I guess we will see. Before we get any further, because I do want to get into O'Bannon's wake, I know you two are super excited that football started today, right?
Yes.
Heck yeah. And speaking of Tina Cat more so than I, but for many, many years, I used to have a lot of friends that played fantasy football.
Now he has no friends.
That's not the point of this. No, but right, you played fantasy football before.
Yes,
like in those
I'm in 2 leagues this year. Come on.
Well, but the problem is, see, what I hate is when you're in those leagues, it's literally a full season long, and week 1, right? Exciting time right now. But then all of a sudden your star players go injured, and you're like, oh, there's the end of my fantasy football league season. DraftKings, it's a 1-week commitment.
Yeah.
No, like, season-long commitments. I hated that, right? So every week you pick a new team, new lineup, boom, 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 and much higher chances of winning. And guess what? You can be entered in to win $2 million as the grand prize. Oh, a total of $10 million being given away for this first week. Still, you can still get in. Just go to DraftKings.com/AfterBuzz. Tina Cap, anything else you want to add?
Well, you got to enter in the code BUZZ, BUZZ,
AfterBuzz.
to get
The full code, AfterBuzz.
No, it's just Buzz.
Ah, there you go.
I've
Just put in Buzz.
been doing this promo for the last couple of weeks with Hard Knocks, which is over, unfortunately, but that's good for DraftKings because that means that
Just wanted to make sure you knew, and the fans knew.
Yeah.
season
Buzz.
started. Yes, of course I know.
And Tina Cap's been doing it, so she's going to be like a trillionaire by the time this is over.
I
right?
hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to get out of this joint.
That's why she's got 2
Aw,
fantasy leagues
Just
going.
kidding.
What
I love
about
you guys.
us?
I love you guys.
too.
Come on.
That's what she's been doing. That's why she hasn't been here. She's been trying to get out of this joint, becoming a trillionaire.
No.
By the way,
comes up.
speaking of other, real quick, Edward Burns, he loves the show. This was
Eddie
personal.
B.
Eddie B. Personal project to him. Well, September 14th, a personal project that I've been sort of involved with, now comes to fruition. Called Dance Battle America. It's executive produced by our own Maria Menounos, and it airs right after Dancing with the Stars on Monday nights. And you know what? What started off as kind of a dance craze on social media has now grown into a TV special, and you get to see real families compete. So September 14th, check that out, ABC, after
Phil-
Dancing with the Stars.
Phil, I am stoked for Dance Battle America, but I'm sorry, did you just compare yourself to Edward Burns?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh.
No,
We're sorry, Edward Burns. That's
We have what? This show is a passion project to him. Dance Battle America. I've literally seen since inception.
Wait, can we pause for a second and go back to
Have we not been
fantasy
paused
football?
then?
Have we not been pausing?
Because quickly, I just want to say I had 59 points in the first game because I had Antonio Brown who had 28 points tonight. Yeah.
This news break brought to you by DraftKings.
Excited.
Yes,
Promo code
exactly.
BUZZ.
BUZZ.
But back to
Unpause.
O'Bannon's wake. Back to
Yes.
O'Bannon's wake. Okay, so there's a lot that happened there, and as we were talking about with James, Smitty and Richie, or Smitty and Richie, we decided we were going with. Okay.
Yes.
We're talking up James.
No, it's not Richie that's talking with Smitty. It's a different guy. I don't know his name because he's not super involved. He just pops up every once in a while.
So a couple of guys are talking to James, and but I think most importantly in this scene, we see there's a connection between Rusty and Kay, and Roxy and I were talking about this last night. That, I mean, might this be a romantic connection? Might they be lovers?
Oh, he went for that hand
yes.
so fast. He
Oh,
was just
yes.
like,
There's no...
what's up?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Tina Cap did not care for that.
There's no chance in heck that that's not a romantic relationship. I mean, just
let me come over and take care of you.
yes, it was, and the way that she's like, oh, that would be real nice.
Okay,
you
but
know, it was.
here's the conversation that Roxy and I were having last night. Do you think that they are actual lovers, or maybe he's just in love with her?
I think a little bit more on that end, but I think they have
On what end?
your end of their. He
That
loves her more.
Yeah, he's more attracted to her.
But I think, I don't know, maybe they shared a kiss. Something's happened.
Something, because, I mean, Mr. O beats her, so I can't imagine that they have too much romantic involvement or whatever.
And to
you
be
want to
fair,
say.
he was in jail for 7 years. So I think whatever they used to have was before that. You know,
And
and a lot-
maybe now that he's out, that kind of fueled the fire for him wanting to kill Mr. O because he wants to be with her.
But this is big, right? Because before tonight, we were thinking that this was a business killing.
Yeah.
Well, why can't it be? It's business and pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's one or the other.
2 birds, 1 stone.
You think it's both?
It's pleasure with a business front.
Okay, let me ask you this.
what I
Because
think.
Rusty's the catalyst of all of this. Is Rusty actually a good business person? Like, should... No.
No.
Okay.
I think to be a good business person, you have to be reasonable, rational, level-headed, see the big picture. And he's too impulsive. He's too passionate. He only thinks, from A to B. He doesn't see X, Y, and Z.
So therefore, it's not beyond him to make a business decision and a personal decision of like, hey, I get her and I get the business.
Well, I mean, he kind of did that with like, oh, I'm not even going to take a chance. This hooker just said, oh, don't worry, I won't say anything. Bang, bang. I don't care if you will say anything or not. I'm not going to take the chance. You know what I mean? So I agree with you, Anna, that he is very impulsive, and that's not always a good thing when it comes to, business decisions. But then again, on the other side of it, is it Joe's brother, Rusty's uncle?
Mr. Red.
Yes.
Uncle Red.
They
Uncle
go and they kill the bar owner. And it seems that Mr. Red had planned this because he tells Rusty to get down, and then he comes up and, come on, Rusty, put some muscle in it when he's choking the guy out. So I'm a little confused there because, Joe Patton is saying, we're not on the streets, we're not, hoodlums anymore, or whatever he said, we're businessmen. But then clearly he's the one that ordered this killing of the bar owner, right?
Well, we had talked about that, and my feeling is that they were sort of feeling him out. What's the story? What happened that night? And when he first said, oh, come to think of it, he wasn't even there. O'Bannon wasn't even there. But then when Uncle Red starts asking him more questions, he's like, oh, yeah, they saw all of it. They saw all the yelling. That's when he got killed. And so
Yeah.
I think that there was a strategy in place there.
So maybe he wouldn't have gotten killed if he would have stuck to his story as saying, like, no, Rusty wasn't there, and just continue, you know what I mean? Like, continued with that?
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
More will be revealed. So the other I guess important thing that happened during O'Bannon's wake is Terry takes the time to explain to his son why he shouldn't be a tough guy, why it's important to stay away from this life, and it also becomes clear why. Am I speaking English? It also becomes clear why he wanted to have the kids at the wake.
But did it ultimately work? I mean, as Christine says, he's walking around like Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah, and he, wants to touch his great uncle, or, second.
That's just
What would
boys.
he be considered? Great uncle? If he's Terry's uncle?
Great uncle.
Yeah.
Family.
I don't know. I think that's
Family.
weird. I don't think that's just boys
That's
wanting
boys'
to touch
curiosity.
a dead guy. That's weird.
Yeah, I get it. There's a sense of like, it's more to it than I just want to touch a dead guy. This is, this is family, but also it does stem from there's boys' curiosity.
I guess so.
to do stupid stuff like that.
Well, I don't know. When I was, personal information, maybe too much, but when I was a little girl, I kissed my grandfather in his casket, and it was terrifying because I didn't realize he was going to be so cold, and, it was... I had no idea about that. Nobody had explained it to me, but I think.
But your intentions going into that were different, I think, than him wanting to touch.
But what do you think his intentions were?
Well, the way that he's, can I touch him? It wasn't like Anna, who's like, oh, my grandpa, I want to give him a kiss because he's gone, and you love him. It was more kind of like I want to touch a dead person. That's the vibe that I got from him, and which I thought was weird, and maybe because I'm not a boy, I don't understand that. Logic, but
it is educational in the sense, like, I want to, if this is the life that I'm told that I shouldn't be involved in, then I want to know, like, if this is the end result that you keep saying, then I want to know what that feels like without obviously actually going through it.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So, but this does bring us, like you were talking about Tina Cap. You were saying, was it ultimately a good idea to bring James to the funeral or to the wake? Because now he's walking around, was it like Humphrey Bogart?
Yeah.
Bragging to his friends. And this brings in, they have very different parenting styles. I think that, again, she brings up the move. Let's move. There's too much violence. Let's go. And he said, well, I'll just smack him around, That's
cheap.
Yeah, it's cheaper to just smack him around. That's so...
That's his attitude towards life, I feel like.
Just as...
No, we'll think about it.
As inexpensive as possible?
No, not in that way, but we'll talk about the poker game in that sense. Like, it was easier just to smack them around.
That's true. That's true. I'm anxious to hear Christina's thoughts about the Muldoon marriage.
Well,
as a parenting expert.
Yes. My 2 dogs and... Anyways,
it's getting weird.
Yeah. No, I mentioned before the show that their relationship is very awkward. I have not seen them touch or kiss the entire first 3 episodes.
Hey, he wanted to get some.
He calls her gorgeous, which is endearing, but they never show any affection towards each other. And I'm still trying to figure out if it's the actress who maybe just... I don't want to say she's bad because I don't think it's her. I think that's what their intention is with the 2 characters, is to show that it's not really that perfect of a marriage. Do you guys agree with that?
I agree. I mean, she's playing a good work wife, but eventually it's going to fall apart.
I felt some real sexual chemistry between them for the first time tonight.
Really?
Well, he didn't get
where?
So.
When in the bedroom scene?
In the bedroom scene, where it seemed to be sort of this, I don't know, hate sex maybe is on the table. It didn't happen, but I think that the fighting sort of is a turn on for both of them.
But it's not even, I wouldn't even consider it fighting. It's more kind of just like bickering and disagreement, because, they don't really like blow up at each other. It's not, it doesn't seem like a huge deal. Yes, obviously she wants to move. Yes, she doesn't necessarily agree with his parenting skills and tells him, lay off him. He feels bad, whatever, blah, 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 when the whole school thing happened. And, But they haven't really like blown up on each other. So I don't know if it's to the point of hate sex. I just think it's...
But Terry's not the type of guy. He's not going to... He hasn't blown up at all yet.
No.
He's very...
I mean on her part. Like her getting really angry. I don't know. And the casting, she seems too young to have 3 children. I mean, I guess it's the 60s and people got married younger.
We'll talk about... Agnes over there is already getting married. She's just turned 18.
True,
like,
that's
come
true,
on.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying, if I were playing the wife of Edward Burns, I would not be not touching him. I'm just saying.
If
That's
you were
a different story.
Or if you were the wife.
Is he married in real life?
These are all questions.
You just wanted him as a side piece anyway, right?
I know, I love Sean. But if Sean's not available, Eddie.
We did learn a little bit more. We did learn a little bit more about. No, it was good about Sean, your main love interest. He just has some words, but we learned that Sean's first memories of his father beating his mom because breakfast wasn't warm enough.
What did you guys think about his reaction that he was wanting to go drink and celebrate his dad being dead, and he can't stop. He doesn't lay off the fact that somebody did his deed for him. Like, he wanted to kill he said it so many times that he wanted to kill his dad. Like, how did you guys feel about that?
I mean, how did I feel in the sense? I mean, he clearly hates his dad, so I'm not gonna take that away from him. I mean, it's an interesting way of handling it, certainly. But here's the thing. I mean, to be that hateful after the loss says a lot about how much he hated him.
Right, well, because Deirdre, right, that's the girl's name, she even said, like, you don't even feel a little bit sad about this? Because regardless of how much you hate your parent, I mean, I feel like you would still feel a little bit of sadness.
I mean, ultimately, right, I think there's like a notion or philosophy, like, as a parent, you have to love your child. But as a child, you don't have to spend your life in gratitude towards your parents in that way. Like, the whole point is that your life becomes your own. And if you have kids, then they are your life.
True.
After that, but as a child, you don't have that same responsibility back to your parent.
I guess so.
It's just
Every family's different. Everybody's way of grieving is different.
Yeah.
This is true.
So speaking of family, Charlie has a family. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Well, we sort of knew, we just didn't see them. But a German-speaking family, nonetheless.
But he lives with his mom.
Sprechen Sie
So
Deutsch?
it was German? I didn't know what she was speaking.
It was German.
It was Deutsch.
Nothing sexier than a middle-aged man living with his mother.
And his kids.
Yeah, and his kids. 18-year-old daughter. What do we think happened to the wife? She died? She split?
I think she probably died. I'm assuming like a medical health thing. I don't think she would have been murdered or something like that. But then again, you never know.
Yeah, no, I think it was something along those lines. But just because of the way Agnes brought up, like, hey, we're not gonna have kids early on like you guys did. And maybe it was with, I don't know, this is just pure speculation, but maybe it was there's 3 in total. Maybe it was a child labor related thing. I don't know. But regardless, the point is that she didn't speak like that his marriage failed in any sort of way, or like, because it could have been an easy dig to say, like, no, he's a good guy, unlike you, for letting mom go, or, I'll be a good wife, unlike mom was to you, or whatever.
That's true. That's a very good observation, Phil. It really is. But this also explains his protection over women, right? Because we were like, well, why does he's like corrupt, except he seems to have some sort of feeling for women, and it explains a lot, right? He lives with mom, he has a daughter, makes total sense now.
Yes. And the horrific thing could have been, imagine if he lost his wife due to his, not necessarily his job per se, but like related to things.
Yeah, the corruption.
Now, I ain't saying she's a prostitute either, so don't write that in the comments section.
I ain't saying she a gold digger neither. But so he goes to visit
Stacy, aka Fortune.
Yes, thank you. And gives her the money, encourages her to get out, and doesn't ask a thing of her. And I think that was shocking for her.
Yeah,
it was shocking for me.
Well, their first encounter,
Phil.
I mean, there was a split second where I was like, is he gonna give in? Is he gonna, do it with her and not take her in or whatever? But then, after that, when he took her in and he's writing up the paperwork saying, you're a school teacher, blah blah blah, like, this is not gonna go on your record, whatever. From there on, I could kind of tell, okay, it seems like more of a friendship, or he wants that feminine, that female companion, that female, person to talk to more than like a sexual partner. And you could really see it in this episode, like you said, when he brings her the money and kind of tries to take care of her and give her, you know, compliments on, you know, get out of this business, move away, you know, start a new life, whatever. Because I'm sure $2,000 in the 60s was
That's a lot of money.
quite a lot of money. So
just even the words that he says, you know, oh, it's the least I could do. Like, no, the least you could have done. You didn't have to do any of this.
Yeah.
Right.
you didn't have to go beat up the guy, steal the money, take the necklace.
Like,
yeah.
in fact, and realistically, she should have gone to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he protects women, and I think you're right. I think he's lonely and does want that sort of companionship.
Yeah.
But we're running low on time, guys, and we really need to talk about this poker game because it was a pretty big deal. We find out that, and we know there's been corruption. We know that the whole time. But Terry has several stool pigeons, shall we call them, that he has deals with. And the first one we meet at the funeral, and he says something like, if you hear something, you come to me first, and I don't want to see you going anywhere else. And this is the same guy that he has in the car later, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Is this the guy that gives him the list?
I'm not sure if that's the guy who...
Because remember he was talking about, oh, they told me about this game, but it's not on the list.
No. That was Lou, who's a different rep. And so we see there's a pattern. But they both say, because he said, you know what happens if you don't do what I say? And they're like, I have no interest in going back. So assuming that he's cutting off jail time, right, for information. So there's a whole system in place of corruption.
Yeah, or maybe he's turning a blind eye to the fact that these guys are doing illegal things because they're helping him on the flip side, you know?
I mean, that's the
Yeah.
whole name of the game.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it for me, I don't care what you do.
That's right. Yes, can be applied almost anywhere in life.
True.
Yes. So they take this information about the poker game to the captain. We meet Helena
Who's with
Latour.
The broad?
Helena Latour.
The broad,
What's
as he
up
so
with her?
eloquently calls her.
I think she is a madam.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out. Either a madam or she runs some sort of Thai massage place.
Because she says something about, my girls are happy and healthy, and perhaps someday we can convince you to stay for more than a visit. And
Yeah.
Terry's like, not tonight, but, Lieutenant King over here might take you up on that. So, and more on that, I'm sure, is going to come into play.
Yeah.
Keep tuning in as the
Yep.
story develops.
So ultimately,
I just want to do the 11 o'clock news.
we can
We'll
we can
make
do some
arrangements.
version of that, yeah. So ultimately, Terry, Petey Mac, and Charlie go to the game, break it up, hands off the table.
All right, the Tedeschi's kid, the world's dumbest reaction to this entire thing.
Right. Also, who's Tedesco?
We have
Tedesco.
not been introduced to him yet, I don't think. Because I asked that to Phil, too, when we were rewatching the episode. They call him Moose.
They call him Slick.
Okay.
See,
See,
We
yeah,
got
guys, it's hard to keep up.
Anyways, yeah.
3 names.
I
right
don't
off the
think
bat.
we've been introduced to him, but they allude to the fact that he's a powerful guy because his kid is like, oh, when my dad hears about this or whatever.
You have no idea who you're messing with.
Yes. And then they say, well, your dad's not going to help you here. Your dad's not going to be able to get you out here. So I'm interested to see who this Tedesco guy is, Slick, Moose, whatever his name is. Whether he's, a criminal guy that's running another sort of gambling ring, or if he's,
Judge.
yeah, something.
Does
something like
Vince
that.
or if you want to call him Latucci have is he aware of this?
Yeah, why was Latucci left out? Because it was
And
just sort of
Latucci
like,
was-
I don't know, he doesn't like Italians. I don't know. But that can't be the reason.
Well, no, not even that. Latucci didn't know about this, but Tedeschi and Latucci are supposed to be. That's like Latucci's domain. He's supposed to know about this stuff.
Right.
Is he turning a blind eye because he's getting more out of it?
No, he was told explicitly not to go.
No, but yes, I get that, but I'm saying, did Lutucci know about this ahead of time, and that's why he's playing all weird and saying, "Oh, I don't know, why you kind of going."
Like he has a hand in the pot or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, but at the same token, why wouldn't he have called ahead?
Yo, they
and
all
been
have
like,
a hand in the pot.
I think...
Yeah, but I'm saying he's taking more without telling others. It'd be like if you all three of us made a pact of, hey, we all split the profit evenly, and then me and somebody else, I'm like, all right, let's cut a deal, but don't tell those guys.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Or I think possibly, and this could be a stretch, but maybe they realize that Lutucci's kind of losing touch with his connections, and so they think that his information is not right, or he might screw something up, so they're just avoiding bringing him in at all.
Guys, let's just call this predictions. Shall we go right into
Sure.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, first off, Lutucci's really worried about suits, so his mind's on other things.
He is distracted.
I mean, very important to have a good suit. Although I didn't think Petey Mac's suit was all that bad.
It was good enough for baptism or something. What was that? Confirmation? I don't know.
That's what he said.
Confirmation. Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know.
didn't think it was
you
that
seem to
bad
be on a
either.
roll, and I interrupted you by saying call it predictions.
No. I was done with my prediction for
She was
Lutucci.
done. Okay.
For Lutucci, yes, but wow, how did I already forget what we just saw in the previews for the next episode?
So they
It's
take
so
the
much.
money. They take the money, right?
Yes.
And I think that's going to be kind of... It's interesting, the pattern of these past 3 episodes, because, in the second one, we kind of had... We stuck more to the characters that we got to know. Now we've kind of stepped aside. Like, I thought we would have spent a lot more time with Rusty than we actually ended up. And so it'll be interesting to see how next episode fully keeps panning out. We know Richie, he's got that mission to him and his West Side Story. They want to take over.
True.
So I think that, in the previews that's what was made the most compelling. Now whether or not that's going to be the biggest plot point, I don't know.
Well, I think that, and I've said this before, and I know Roxy disagreed with me, but I think that Terry is actually way more corrupt than everybody else and has his hands in way too many things, and I think that a lot more is going to be revealed about that.
Well, I'm excited for Terry because right now, again, you could tell him that the entire city's burning, but all right, let's get the fire department and we'll take care of it.
Or the volunteer fire department because it's cheaper.
There you go. So I think eventually, to Tina Cap's point, he's gonna get some anger. And he's got, why did you do that? I told you not to do that.
Right.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
Whether personal or.
I think it's gonna come because of something that James does.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, James is going to get into, he's going to start running errands. See, I think they were prepping him at that funeral. They were like, I started running errands.
And I meant to, sorry to cut you off. I meant to say the guy that is next to Smitty, did you guys watch Orange is the New Black?
Yes.
So did you watch the newest season?
Yes.
He's the guy.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
No, it's not. I'm just saying the character. He drives the van with, what's her name?
Yes.
With Pennsatucky.
Yes.
That's that actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Also, I in terms of, I'm really interested to see how many people Patton actually follows up with, because he set a lot of lunch dates. Yeah, call me next week. We'll get lunch.
Yeah.
And specifically,
Yeah.
the most one. Terry and him are supposed to talk.
And Terry's dad used to be the sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're apparently old friends.
So
But
There's so much.
There's so much to be revealed. It's hard to keep up. Anyway, so in the meantime, please tweet at us throughout the week. Christina, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Tina Cap.
And you can follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at Roxy Stryer. That is not my Twitter.
That is not Phil's Twitter, but I won't give his Twitter because he doesn't like to. But yeah, follow Roxy Stryer. You can follow me at Koppel from Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR. Thanks for joining us. We will be back next week.
And tell at Edward Burns who has been tweeting with us that he should come on
Yeah.
and break some people.
Please.
Make it fun.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.